Good morning, welcome to Headline Focus here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. It is Monday the 16th of April 2018. Let's have a look at what's making the political news today. So, Syria is on the cards and it's in the chamber. And by that I mean the House of Commons today. Theresa May, the Prime Minister, is set to tell MPs as they come back from recess, back from holiday, that the Syria airstrikes were in our national interest to prevent further use of chemical weapons in Syria and to uphold and defend the global consensus that these weapons should not be used. Now, the Prime Minister faces questions in the House of Commons at around about 3:30 this afternoon, and she's going to ask for an emergency debate from the Speaker of the Commons, John Bercow, which is actually quite an unusual thing to happen, but it's so to give more time for this issue to be discussed by members of Parliament, particularly retrospectively, considering that the airstrikes with the UK, US and France did take place on the weekend. The UK, US and France bombed 3 Syrian government websites on Saturday in response to a suspected chemical attack on the town of Douma. The key thing in terms of this whole argument, and particularly what you're going to hear in the Commons today, should be quite a lively debate, is the idea that there was no Parliament consultation before the UK engaged in military action in Syria. Now, Vince Cable, leader of the Lib Dems, have accused the Prime Minister, saying she didn't call a vote last week. She didn't bring MPs back to have a vote and have a say on this, is because she feared she was going to lose that vote. And now Labour, and particularly Labour under Jeremy Corbyn, personally are pushing for a law to be changed before future military interventions can be taken place by any UK government of the future. Jeremy Corbyn's been particularly vocal on this issue and said the intervention was more legally questionable and reckless military interventions are not what British people want from their government. Now, the Assad regime denies these chemical weapons attacks. However, this is going to be a debate which is going to go on in the chamber, no doubt, for a very long time, and probably some heated opinions as well. Stop the War are also doing a protest, I believe, outside Parliament today as well, which some MPs will be attending, include reportedly MP Lloyd Russell Moore, who was on our Meet the MP series just the other week, so have a check out on him on our Meet the MP series. Next up, Russian Cyber-Retaliation Warning. Now, this is covering most of the UK press papers in terms of front pages. This morning, it's basically a warning of a prospect of a retaliatory cyber strike by Russia against the UK, warning to possible attacks on critical UK infrastructure and stings on politicians and other high-profile figures using the internet, using online and cyber security networks. The Telegraph says that the cyber war is already underway, in fact, with Whitehall sources claiming that Kremlin-linked social media accounts have been increasingly spreading disinformation in the days after the Syria strike on Saturday. And indeed, US officials have also been cited today, saying that propaganda activists by Russian social media bots have increased 2,000% over the weekend. Now, the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has said that every possible precaution is being taken place in terms of this cyber threat, or this suspected or reported cyber threat, the GCHQ being on standby as well. Finally, something a little bit different. The Commonwealth is back in town. It's back in London. The Heads of Government meeting, it's called Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, or the CHOGM. It's the first time in 20 years that Britain has actually hosted this biannual summit, so it's quite a significant event in terms of the UK. And what better time could it come than in this post-Brexit, or rather preparations for post-Brexit world? Now, it's understood that UK ministers will lobby for a UK post-Brexit trade deal with the Commonwealth countries. The value of goods and services flowing within the Commonwealth is estimated to be $687 billion and is likely to rise to $1 trillion by 2020, the FT are reporting today. On the agenda, Theresa May is expected to deliver an address this morning, followed by the International Trade Secretary Liam Fox. Other ministers will no doubt be popping in and out as well. The Guardian, however, is picking up on something which is turning into a bit of an argument, and that's from the representatives from Caribbean nations. And they say they've been snubbed by Number 10 Downing Street in terms of a meeting to discuss the treatment of Windrush generation immigrants living in Britain. The Guardian is particularly reporting on this this morning, and that's basically the discussion on how Caribbean citizens who arrived here legally as children and who've lived in Britain for decades since then are having now to prove their right to stay in the UK, and even some have been reportedly threatened with deportation as well. That story perhaps going to be going somewhere in terms of the news today as well, something you should be aware of. That's pretty much it for today. You're up to date. Don't forget you can find all the latest on what we're doing here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter right here. But from me and all the team here at Core London, see you tomorrow at around 9 a.m.